before we preview the games tonight, we do have to talk about the statement the T-Wolves made and the statement they've been making so far in the playoffs. 6-0 in these playoffs so far. And that may have been the loudest statement that they've made since they started this playoff run. They at one point had a 32-point lead on the Denver Nuggets, and that is the largest deficit that Denver's had at home since 2018, and the largest home playoff deficit they've ever had in the history of the organization. And it was, I mean, this is, like I said, it was and I know we talked about the coming out party of Anthony Edwards and how great he's been, but this was more of a team win. Because Anthony Edwards, I mean, he was great. He made some eye-popping plays. He had 27 along with Cat, but it was the defense. And they've been an elite defense all season long, but people just haven't watched the T-Wolves. But that defense suffocated Denver. 11 steals. They had 12 blocks without Rudy Gobert, which I think was probably the biggest stat or fact, most impressive one. They had an all-time great defensive showing in the playoffs, holding Denver to under 35% shooting from the field, under 30% from three-point range, without arguably the best defensive player in the league. That is troubling if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. I mean, there ain't no other way around it. And now going down 2-0 to this team, they didn't just look hungry, man. They look ravenous. They look like they were ready to take some heads off, and pretty much they did. That was an old biblical style butt whipping they put on Denver.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the style of defense Minnesota plays, and they have different ways they can do it. In game one, there was a lot more of, sticking big man after big man out there on Jokic, but then they would also let Rudy Gobert play off in some of these matchups, put Karl Anthony Towns on him or put Naz Reid on him, and then have Rudy Gobert just rim protect. In this one, they kind of just took that same method, said, we're going to take away the rim protector, so you guys need to play more intense defense on the perimeter and just suffocate Jamal Murray. And when Jokic tries to dribble the ball, go for the ball. Get in his way. Direct him off of his path. You don't have to stop him. You just want to direct him off of his path. So when he's trying to go to the basket, he no longer has to play at the basket. He's headed past it. So now he's got to pass the ball. And when he's got to pass the ball, his defenders are trying to get to open lanes, take away his passing lanes. And so he's throwing passes, trying to fit him in really small windows. And the rest of this Nuggets team is not moving around quite where they know where they're supposed to be. And it leads to turnovers. And there was a lot of turnovers early, especially for Jokic. And they're finding this way to really get them off their game. And then they won the battle of mentality and just taking Denver, that just feels like they have not been challenged like this in 2 seasons, and they don't like it. And it'll be interesting to see how they respond. But man, it is crazy to see Jamal Murray just really taken out of his game. He's played really well in the playoffs, but that was not a good performance by him. And continuing to get upset, should have been probably thrown out by how much he yelled at the refs, then threw a heating pad on the court. Just stuff that you can't do in a playoff game. And I mean, maybe part of it was he did want to get tossed to prove his point that the refs are corrupt, that the refs were trying to screw him, and they have a vendetta against Denver.
Yeah,
and they
just
won.
for the money sign at the ref at one point.
It's Minnesota too. Like, it's such a weird. I get there's teams that you would say, like if it's LA or LeBron, if it's the Knicks, then you go, oh man, they're getting better. But if it's Minnesota, you're like, yeah, everybody really wants to see Rudy Gobert in the title game. And Karl Anthony Towns is the guy they're going to build the. It's like, I get it.
Fair.
And so I think there's points to it, but yeah, there's no way they were trying to make it that bad in Denver. The refs, they're just letting them play a lot more, which they've been doing more in the second half of the season. And then they were doing, you do more in the playoffs. And it can be really frustrating. It's when guys play like that and they have such length and such athleticism, it's just extremely, extremely frustrating. There were some missed calls. There was missed calls on both ends. But it was there, once they got in his head, they blew a call where it should have been a charge on Karl Anthony Towns. They didn't call it. And from that point on, Jamal Murray was set in his mind that the fix was in. And, he had plays where he was going at the refs. He was talking to his dad throughout the game. He picked up a couple dumb fouls where he just grabbed and basically ripped at a guy and then looked over like, oh, I guess you called that one. You're like, yeah, you intentionally fouled him.
He was literally just unraveling right before our eyes.
And so he needs to, luckily they're off till Friday. So
They need it.
they need it. He needs to go back and watch the game film and really watch it and say, okay, that wasn't a foul. I overreacted on that one. I overreacted on that one. Calm down in the moment. You get up to it, calm down. They blew a few, but not enough that I should have acted like this. I need to fix my game and get a little bit better. I think the second half they looked better. Jokic looked better in the second half, but they just need to figure out a way to calm themselves down. When Minnesota really starts to put it on them, slow down, get the play back out, get back out, and try and get a bucket or two and temper what Minnesota's been able to do. But it was a dominant performance.
It really was. Like I knew we talked about how talented that T-Wolves team was. I just had no idea how deep they were without Rudy Gobert, and they still just had long, big bodies to throw at Jokic and the Nuggets. Kyle Anderson played well. He had 8 assists and 9 rebounds. Playing in place of Rudy Gobert, who's out because, for those who don't know, he's expecting a child, so no injury or anything. He's expecting the birth of his son. That's why he didn't travel with the team. Like I said, they got Nas Reed. They got Alexander Wall. They just got guys. Yeah. They got guys they can throw at you. And I don't think we haven't seen Denver face this kind of adversity. What did Rudy T always say? Never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Yeah, that's what he says.
We'll find out. This is the heart of a champion moment for Denver. It is.
Very much is.
They can still get beat, but you can't get swept. That'd be ugly. I believe last time that happened was the Lakers, I believe, in 2011.
You can't get swept you can't get swept and then cry about that you're not getting the, when you've been able to dominate for 2 years and then say all of a sudden they played a different style of basketball against us and we couldn't. That's not fair. You can't. It's like, that's
exactly.
You have to go against it. They're going to play you rough. They're going to bounce around, but it's just length and athleticism. It's really, really hard to play against if those guys are going to be that ferocious. But you just have to try and go back at them, play quicker. Try and wear them out by running up and down the court. Instead of setting up in half court and allowing them to trap you, try and get up and down the court. Try and set up quicker. Try and do those types of things. You just can't play into their hands and then wonder why it's going the wrong way.
No, I'm with you on that. I can't wait to see what the adjustment's going to be. And you're going to get everything Denver's got in that game 3. I mean, that thing's going to feel like a game 7.
Oh, and Minnesota's be going nuts at home.
Yeah,
those fans are going to be going crazy.
That's going to be a must watch. That game 3 is going to be a must watch.
Friday night TV.
Ooh, you're right. In Minnesota, the last time Minnesota had a game that big.
I don't know. That is
right. It's been a long time, man. Got to be going back. I mean, that's KG's time, maybe. Yeah. KG time, and that's a long time ago. KG in Minnesota, that was a long time ago, man. So yeah, you're right. That's gonna be electric. So teams up 2-0 on the road are 11-2 in the semifinals, 36-5 overall in the playoffs. So, So it ain't looking good for Denver. I ain't saying they can win it, but they got to come back and make this thing a series. They got to come back and at least make it a series.
Yeah.
If they don't, there'll be a lot of questions about really just, I don't know, if you're Denver, that's being shell-shocked. And I don't think anybody expected Minnesota to come out gangbusters like that. I said it would be a good series, and I might be wrong. I might have been wrong about
we all thought it was going to be a good series.